Hey guys, welcome to another step in my journey. However, this one's gonna be a little, maybe not as positive, maybe more concerning. As you're aware, I'm going through a lot of changes with my work schedule, and it's been hit and miss. On the plus side, it's nice to have a job that is more therapeutical now, in a sense. Like it's not about the money, and it's really it's a fun job actually. It's the first time I'm going to work and I'm not feeling bad, negative. I'm not being put down. I'm getting a lot of thank yous, all that good stuff. However, the job title in of itself has people wondering about maybe my sanity or whether I understand what sustainability means. But I'm looking at it as a temporary thing, and if it works out, great. And possibly, if this takes longer than I would hope, that it might transition into, like a temporary sort of like. Okay, let me just spell it out. The job that I'm doing now is a host. I'm a male host. And what's ironic is it's typically a job for young ladies that start their serving career. So it's not to say that I can't be a server. I've actually addressed it in the past really briefly, and I think I'll be really good at it once I get good at it. But it's definitely goes against the grain with what people expect, and I just have to be really good at it, or it's not really worth doing. But in any case, it still does do what I needed to do for now. But that doesn't mean it doesn't add its own stress, because I'm used to going from, a dealer wage, and even before the injuries and stuff, like even doing 3 days a week I could easily afford the bills, and I say easily as it does. However, now I'm probably not even close. I'm getting even fewer hours than I would have thought, and that's just the position that it is. Who knows? Maybe I'll pick up a few more, but the problem with those hours is it gets spread out throughout the week, and it's usually right in the like the I don't know. It depends on what kind of video project I'm working on at the time. Sometimes it's not a problem. Actually, probably most of the time it's not a problem. But for events and stuff like that, it definitely takes that sweet spot. So I have to weigh the pros and cons with that. But for now, I, I need to lessen the bleed, my financial bleed, so I have more time to do this, and because I want to do this. However, with that said, it's also rearranged my schedule quite a bit. On the one hand, I'm not up as late as I used to, and that can be a good thing. However, when I eat, when I go to bed, when I wake up, and when I do my exercise is all in turmoil. And I'm noticing a negative effect. And it sucks, because that is also affecting my abilities to do these. For an instance, I have a laundry list of things that needs to be done to make this work. And the more I do this, the more T's and I's I got to cross on certain things, and it's becoming overwhelmingly a lot of stuff. Now, when I break it down and do each little thing, it feels good to get it done. But when I go into, like, say, a 4 day midweek, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do this week to be most effective? And I go, okay, I got this, that, and everything else. And then, because I'm just a one man band and I'm doing this all, it's very easy to feel stressed about it, feel underwhelmed, or just like burdened, that concerned, like, what I'm getting at, right? So one of the more recent problems that's coming up is I'm actually spending more time playing video games. Now, don't get me wrong, the video game here and there is okay, but unfortunately for me, in my history and just some of the things that I've gone through, video games has, for all intent and purposes, is a drug to me. So, like, a little bit is fine, but what the main reason that I play it for is to be a distraction. See, I love to solve problems. That's why I love the idea of getting to videography, because it's just a bunch of little problems. And once I have all the systems to solve these problems or whatever else, like, it's gonna be great. I like that. But right now, I have like almost too many problems that it's overwhelming. So to go into a video game, it simplifies it's blah. To go into a video game, it just simplifies the the amount of problems, and it puts it into an achievable sort of way, because video games are meant to be challenging but not impossible. If you want to do something in a video game, there's usually a way to do it. In the real world, I guess is you could say the same thing, but there's just so many more variables, and ultimately, and one of the problems I'm having is dealing with other people. Okay, for an example, um, I've been like working with other people. Like I'm an amateur. I'm still new. I've only been doing this for a while, and what I'm finding is so far I'm only working with the same kind of people. So our expectations are all over the map. Things aren't really too consistent. There's no real systems. And I know, and I have some theories on how to solve these and make these and create these, but in the meantime, there's it's still chaotic. And that's really my problem. That's something that I have to solve, and I have to walk people through this process. But I'm still going through this process with these problems, and it's making it really challenging because yeah. And then to top it off, I'm sociable, but again, without going into any details, I've gone through a lot of hard times in the last well, yeah, the last few years has been pretty interesting to say the least, not in a good way. So anyway, no, I'm gonna scratch myself. So yeah, anyway, like for an example, I went to a meeting. It was like an annual meeting with the OSIAF, Okanagan Society of Independent Filmmakers, and it's a networking event. And so there's about 50 people in this room, and they did their meeting. They kind of illustrated what they're going through and stuff like that. A lot of good things, a lot of things I like to hear, right? So I was really glad to have gone to see that this is stuff that's going to be that they're working on to come out here in the Okanagan. Like the industry in the Okanagan, they're trying to grow. They're trying to make this a real place to do big projects. However, at the end of it, in the networking thing, I literally saw 50 people immediately jump on each other, essentially, to talk to each other. And I was standing there going, I don't know what to say to anybody. Like I didn't know what to say. This isn't a time to do the elevator pitch and just start pitching services, because we're all in the same boat. And what's interesting is not everybody's is like me. Not everybody. Like there's a lot of job descriptions, if you will, in the industry, and there's anywhere from animators to sound designers to yada 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 in that room, all with their own sort of area of skills. They're all like me. They're all trying to get into this professionally. So on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. But on the other hand, I don't have, and nobody else seems to have that direct answer of, if we work together, we can make money, right? And yeah, so I don't know. I ended up leaving and feeling like this is going to be a big challenge for me. Because if I can't network in a room full of people that are on the same page as me, how am I going to go out into the real world and talk to other people and not waste their time? So yeah, more challenges. This is where I wish I had a plus one. There's an old saying, 1 + 1 is 3. If I had a business partner, we're growing a company together. Like the waves, if you will, the ups and downs. When you have people working to a team and we see this wave going downwards because, things happen, we can support each other and we can solve it. It doesn't peak out so deeply or last as long. And so, like a wave, if you will, if you were to visualize it being like a wave that just kind of just goes parallel, if you will, you know, with other people, it actually goes up. You advance, you get better, you know what I mean? Like there's still problems that come up, but you're progressing. And for me, being alone, doing this all by myself, I feel like it's really hard to get an upward slope because a negative wave can almost undo a positive wave, sort of. And anyway, I'm flipping and flopping each day. Every day it's like one day or one moment I'm like, oh yeah, this is working, this is exciting, this is, and over time I am growing, but those negative moments are still real and they still affect my abilities to, like how am I going to do the next day? Like I say, I've got a laundry list of things to do and I've got a lot of time to do it, but it's still hard to sort of motivate myself when I'm feeling like those video games would be something to justify for the moment. So yeah, I still have to figure that out, and I still have to hope that, like, you know, like the opportunities are out there. It's just putting it all together. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up before it gets too long-winded. And if you're wondering how you might be able to help me and support me, is, I mean, if simply like and share and subscribe, and if you feel like what I'm doing isn't quite shareable to you or likable to you, I'm certainly open to feedback, constructive criticism. Just be aware that I will do my best to treat that as not an attack on me. Like you're just giving me feedback, but also be aware that taking feedback is also hard too. So if we can find that balance, if we could word things correct, or like in a way that's not so aggressive or whatever, I would definitely like to hear your feedback and suggestions and whatever else you might have to say. So yeah, leave me messages. Like Facebook is probably the best way. PM me there. And other than that, thanks for viewing this, and I hope that the next video will be a lot more positive and yeah, I hope. Have a good one.